Today, we're talking about one of the biggest divides in human history, the believer and the atheist. It's a debate that's shaped wars, cultures, and family dinners. But what if I told you that yes, you, are almost an atheist or agnostic? In fact, every human in our history was an atheist or agnostic. An atheist is a person who does not believe in the existence of any gods or deities, whereas an agnostic believes it is not known or cannot be known whether God exists. For the sake of simplicity, we will consider religious believers and non-believers as atheist, including agnostics. Fun fact, if you're a religious person, you're already about 95% of the way there. Stick with me, because we're about to find the common ground that is shared by whole humanity, including presently living 8 billion people, whether they know it or not. This entire idea is built on a brilliant observation by evolutionary biologist Richards Dawkins. He points out that when we look at the history of religion, every one of us is a selective disbeliever. Now think about it. Do you, a Christian, believe in the divine power of the Hindu god Brahma? Do you, a Muslim, make offerings to the Greek god Zeus to ensure a good harvest? Do you, a Jew, fear the wrath of the Norse god Thor? Of course not. You reject them. You are an atheist when it comes to Zeus, Thor, and Brahma. Now, let's put a number on it. If we take the 20 most prominent gods and goddesses worshipped today and throughout history, I am taking 20 gods, as different sects within prominent religions have different concept of God, in finer details, and peoples believing in one sects reject the concept of God in the other sects, just like Muslim sects have about 5 to 6 concepts of God in finer details. So, now coming back, all religious gods and you, as a believer in one of them, actively disbelieve in the other 19. You have rejected 19 out of 20 gods. Mathematically, you are 95% atheist. You've done 95% of the work of disbelief. The atheist simply takes that one final logical step and says, I don't believe in the 20th God either. This leads us to a new perspective of examining our faith and belief system. Let's play it out. Imagine a person born into a traditional religion, say Norse paganism, worshipping Odin. Along come missionaries preaching about Jesus Christ. To convert to Christianity, what is the first thing this person must do? They must first stop believing in Odin. They must become an atheist with respect to the Norse pantheon. They have to deny their previous gods before they can accept the new one. This is true for every conversion in history. A Hindu converting to Islam first denies the thousands of deities of Hinduism. A Buddhist converting to Judaism first denies the cosmological principles of Buddhism. A modern secular person converting to any faith first denies the prevailing scientific materialist worldview. Every single believer, at the moment of their conversion, first became an atheist to 99.9% of the gods that have ever been proposed. They took a sledgehammer to their old pantheon to make space for the new one. The atheist just decides not to build a new altar in that empty space. Let's take a quick walk through history to see this pattern in action. Hinduism to Buddhism. The Buddha, while not outright denying the Vedic gods, radically demoted them. He said, "Don't look for salvation there." It was a form of theological denial. Greek pantheon to Judaism. As Greek philosophy spread, many intellectuals began to see their own pantheon as childish myths. They found the monotheistic God of the Jews more philosophically sophisticated. They had to deny Zeus to embrace Yahweh. Pagan Rome to Christianity. The Roman Empire was a marketplace of gods. Christians were called atheists by the Romans because they denied the entire state pantheon and the divinity of the emperor. And they were Roman atheists. Pagan Arabia to Islam. The Prophet Muhammad's core message in Mecca was the absolute oneness of God, Tawheed. His first and most radical act was to deny the 360 gods of the Kaaba. He started his mission by being a 100% atheist towards the gods of his tribe. In every case, the new faith was built on the ashes of the old, and the first brick laid was the brick of disbelief. So, why does this matter? It's not a gotcha moment to prove anyone wrong. It's the opposite. It's an invitation for empathy and understanding. If you are a religious person, you now know that you already possess the mental and critical tools for disbelief. You apply them every day to every god but your own. You understand the atheist's position perfectly because you share it for 19 out of 20 gods. And if you are an atheist, you can understand that the leap of faith a believer makes isn't a leap into total irrationality. It's a very specific, culturally and personally conditioned decision to make one single exception. They've drawn their line at one God, you've drawn yours at none. The chasm between believer and unbeliever suddenly seems much smaller. It's not a vast, uncrossable canyon. It's a single step. The next time you find yourself in a conversation about faith, remember this. You are almost certainly starting from a place of 95% agreement. The debate isn't about the capacity for disbelief. We all have that in abundance. The debate is about where and why we choose to make an exception. This shared skepticism is a hidden common ground. Recognizing it won't solve all theological debates, but it can transform them from a shouting match across a divide into a more thoughtful conversation between neighbors who have more in common than they thought. So, what do you think? Does this idea change your perspective? Now, introduction of my book, Objective Analysis of God.
In the beginning, a divine creator shaped the cosmos from the void, but from humanity's sacred texts, another power arose, challenging this solitary reign. A celestial standoff for creation began.